Hi, I'm Joe Mattis, and in this edition of Mindset Matters, our topic is going to be patience. Stay with us till the end of the video, and I'll ask you a question about your patience and introduce the next topic in our Mindset Matters series. Most dictionaries define patience as the ability to wait for something, the capacity to tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting upset. Tall task. If I couldn't avoid a task that required patience altogether, then my strategy was diversion, to distract myself from what it is that I was experiencing to what it is I want to experience. It's not difficult to see where I got this philosophy. When I was growing up in the 70s as a boy, I didn't see a lot of examples of patience around me. And, today with, everybody's got a cell phone on their hip and advertising aimed at 5-second attention spans, getting to the end has never seemed more important, getting to some finish line. So I think distraction is a strategy that many people use. I know that I did and still do. I have this elliptical machine that I get on and exercise 3-4 times a week. And sometimes when I'm on it and halfway through the workout, I'm exhausted. Well, this elliptical machine, it measures my time, the calories that I burn, the watts of energy that I put out when working out. All of this is what I start to focus on. In fact, if I can beat yesterday's score or last week's record, then that's enough to get me through to the end. I start competing with myself. And, for me, it's really easy to make the competition be the reason that I get on the machine to begin with. And I'm there because I want to have some degree of physical fitness. I'm easily sidetracked from that. It gets all about the numbers. And so I have to watch that tendency in myself. I remember the ads for Miller beer when, growing up, Miller Time. I don't think they're on anymore, not Miller Time. But to get to Miller Time is like the thing to do. If you get there, then it makes dealing with the monotony of the week or some difficult situation more tolerable. If I know that Miller beer is at the end of is the goal, that really resonated with me, that particular message. But I see it even with Olympians on television. They medal, and a lot of them will say that the work, the gold medal made all the work worthwhile. There's always some goal to get us to make us strive through difficulty. There are some people who seem to have a naturally healthy relationship with patience and understand that, delayed gratification is part of life. They seem to be as interested in what didn't work as what works. But most of us can relate with, having difficulty sitting still at a red light. I'm so habituated to thinking about what's next that often when I'm experiencing something that's important or even pleasurable, I'm really not there for it. I'm kind of checked out. I'm just so used to being someplace else. That planned vacation that was going to be, that I spent months planning for and spent a fortune on, didn't really seem enjoyable. In fact, when I was on it, maybe I wanted to be back home or someplace else. Some award I may have won that felt hollow when I was actually receiving the award, or the ideal relationship that just didn't provide me the happiness, the permanent happiness that I envisioned that it would. All these experiences were so short-lived, it seemed to me, that exhibiting patience to get to them kind of seemed at the end not worth it. I was in sales for 21 years, and this kind of what's next mentality seemed to be good for business. Always striving for the next thing, the next goal. But that really did leave me in a kind of a constant state of anxiety. And it got to the point where even chasing the goal, that kind of exhilaration of chasing the goal, started to feel hollow also, and wasn't delivering the thrill that it used to. When I was a kid, I remember we would go away to Ocean City, New Jersey for 2 weeks vacation. And I remember watching the tension leave my father's body. You know, his expression would change when he was sitting before the ocean, you know. He was light as a feather. He was really a transformed man at that place. And I really wished that whatever made him so full of tension in his regular life, that he didn't have to go back to that. He hoped art would be that peaceful place for me, that behind the easel I could do whatever transforming that I was meant to do. And I feel that now. I feel that behind the easel is my home. But habits are really powerful, both in mind and body. So habituated to striving to the next thing, and to getting to the end, that when I started back into drawing and painting, I wanted to begin at the end, really. I wanted to begin with the full color painting of a portrait and not subscribe to the curriculum that was suggested to me by the school. After being frustrated trying to do it my way, I finally surrendered and started taking the instruction. And the teacher that I had in cast drawing was very proficient at drawing. And I decided to let him be in charge of what I was going to be learning. And just making that decision took a weight off of my shoulders. I wasn't the guy behind the wheel anymore. I started this practice of methodically learning to draw a piece of plaster, a plaster cast, and understand how it interacted with light. And I was taking my time, and there was no goal other than to get a feel for the process. It was a revolutionary approach for me. And night after night, I began to experience a kind of a peace that I imagine my father was feeling when he would watch those waves in their eternal dance with the shoreline. I just, I had found a home. It wasn't a place, it was more what's happening now. The practice of kind of quiet contemplation as I drew my cast was just the ticket for slowing me down long enough to experience what's happening, maybe for the first time. I was there in my cast drawing class to learn the basics of drawing, but something really fundamental was happening inside of me. The need to exercise patience was transformed into an experience of presence. And it occurred to me that if I'm unable to see the wonder in the simple, I'm never going to recognize it anyplace else. There was nothing basic about cast drawing. It was all just a new, uncharted territory for me. The beginning, the middle, and the end of the drawing was all one process, and all parts were equal. I had arrived, but not at some destination or some end point. I had arrived at what was always in front of me all the time. This new practice softened my nervous system and quieted my mind long enough to see with a new mindset. What I learned in drawing class has affected my artwork and my life in ways that I could never have expected. We all learn from each other, and how others think about patience may help us in our artwork and in our lives. My question for you is, has patience, or lack thereof, helped or hurt your ability to be productive in art? In our next installment of Mindset Matters, our topic will be perfectionism. Are you a perfectionist? When your artwork falls short of what you'd hoped for, how do you react? And is your artwork helped or hurt by the mindset you have on perfectionism? I really look forward to seeing you there and hearing your comments.